Sutter, I'd be very careful if I went across the border into Mexico because of drug lords, buddy.
Drug lords.
Drug lords.
Drug lords.
You know what they would do to a guy like you in Mexico?
They would probably put a bag over my head and throw me in the back of a pickup. I don't know where I would end up, but...
I would be very, very careful with you and Mr. Sam Green if you end up in Mexico. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's like Israel. You know, they took me to Israel and they're like, oh, it's so war, it's such war. But now I'm stereotyping Mexico as drug lords. Because that's all we read on the news.
Perfectly fine. Just don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
As I say, don't stereotype.
Drink the water.
Just drink the Mexican Cokes. All right, we ready?
Ready.
I think it's time to do this.
Let's do it.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk, episode number 90.
The 90s.
The 90s are back again.
Good old days.
Woo! The business of photography. This week's show, we're going to go through the photo news as we always do, but also I have a ton of questions because I said to you guys out on Facebook, let's do a show based around the business of photography, where you ask business questions and I try to do my best to answer them. And there's a lot of them, and we're going to go over this when I get to it, but I'm going to go into... I'm gonna preface with a few things that may label me as a dick. Well, what else is new? But it's not. It's just honesty. Honesty is such a lonely word. And everything is so untrue. Billy Joel.
You know you didn't sing like once last week?
No?
I was going through in Adobe Audition editing the audio, and I'm like, add some reverb here or there, and I'm like, wait, there's nothing to add any effects to.
Yeah, there was nothing on the list.
You didn't sing.
I guess I didn't sing.
I know, I was shocked.
Well, do you know what the original name of Honesty was? Do you know how that song came about?
Mm-mm.
It was originally called Sodomy.
I thought you were going to say Silent Night.
No,
like,
I thought that's where he was going to.
It was called Sodomy. But anyway, that's behind the music with Billy Joel. So how was your week?
It was good. We had a block party for the radio station, which I flew the DJI. Not over the crowd, for those wondering. I know a lot of people commented on your picture you posted, and they're like, you shouldn't be flying over the crowd. I was not. I was all the way in the back of the concert, where there's a fenced-off area. Flew it there. Got some really cool shots. Wish it was a little more crowded, but I like that. I got the cityscape, the skyline in the background and everything.
That was a cool shot.
Easy to fly, too.
The thing with these things, drones, people are going to... You can... how do I say this?
Without being a dick.
Without being a dick. Then you get the people who are like, oh, well, I'm a professional trained pilot who flies drones because they do it for a profession. All right, that's great. It's like going back many years and there weren't many photographers, or as many photographers. And then what happens are the more affordable versions of something that become much easier to use become available, like video. DSLR video becomes much easier. And then other people are like, well, I'm actually a trained professional video person. Well, it doesn't matter when everything gets marginalized and becomes available for everybody, because everybody's going to start using it. It's going to be easier. It's going to be better. And just because that's how it used to be, doesn't mean that's how it's going to be anymore. So you have to adapt. And yes, there's those people that fly the octocopters with DSLRs on it that are they're professionals.
Much harder to fly than DJI.
Be. And dangerous because they're like copters. They're big.
Well, they're all dangerous, I would say, if it gets in the hands of someone
that is not flying it smart.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing
or
is,
hasn't practiced. Like, we've practiced in a couple open fields, and I practiced a few times before I even flew it. I wanted to make sure I had a couple hours down before I just flew this thing without any practice at all.
And when I went out to the park to fly it again and it was busy, I just wouldn't fly it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wouldn't take it more than 10 feet off the ground because
it's scary. Like, there was a couple times where I'm like, got to look at the monitor because I have no idea where it is.
Exactly.
But as long as you keep track of it and you can see the monitor, then everything's good.
All right. Sutter, how was your week?
Pretty good. Developed some film and grabbed some pizza with Sam Green and Leanne.
Where'd you go?
Pizza Brain. Your
where
favorite.
he works.
Where I work.
No, that guy doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, he doesn't work there
No,
anymore?
he went and opened his own Pizza Brain.
He's a competition?
Yeah, I think he's making his own pizza place.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what else did you do?
That's about it.
What happened to you this morning on your photo shoot?
Oh, I was shooting a house for my one of the real estate agents I work for.
Hey, wait a second. I don't think you can use that word anymore.
Real estate agent?
No, shoot.
It's pretty controversial.
I think that's inappropriate.
I was capturing some photos for a real estate agent I work for, and one of my light stands fell over, and my speed light.
How did your light stand fall over indoors during real estate shoot?
So I use a really small footprint on my my light stand so I can hide them in corners, because otherwise it's a ton of post-processing to remove a full light stand out of an image. So I made a really, really tiny footprint, and I guess the floor was a little uneven, and I left the room, I came back, and it was on the ground, and my speed light was in like 4 pieces. It exploded. So it's not like I could have ran home and grabbed another light. So I just had to finish the job with one. So I just threw a speed light on top of my camera and tried to shoot from corners and bounce it off the walls and use it as a big softbox to light the rooms. But I mean, when you're on a job, if anything goes wrong, you really just have to figure it out and just keep on keeping on.
Keep on trucking.
Thanks, Joe Dirt. Do you know when I used to shoot? Have you ever seen Joe Dirt?
Joe Dirt.
Do you even know who Joe Dirt is?
Nope.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
He doesn't know who Joe Dirt is.
I mean, I've heard the name.
I forgot about that.
Anyway,
it's such a good movie. Now
back to your regularly scheduled program. Right before we jump into photo news, I mean, I've got some things that I'll do at the end of photo news, like a discount code from Adorama Pics that they gave me because somebody asked for it. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about the Atomos Ninja Star, because we're all stars now. In the dope show, I don't think they'll like that.
Wait,
That's Marilyn Manson.
I don't remember.
But anyway, let's talk about the Ninja Star. It's coming soon. Everybody's like, when is the Ninja Star coming out? Well, when it comes out, I'll have it. And I think we're going to end up doing some giveaways, whether it's on RAWtalk. I think I want to add it to the Wheel of Fro.
I was going to say, do we have approval for that yet? Or are we still
I don't know. Maybe me saying it will give me approval for it. I want to put a Ninja Star on the Wheel of Fro. I want to put 2 spots for the Ninja Star on the Wheel of Fro. That's what I want to do. But I didn't have any of those printed up, so now I have to have somebody print them up again at Adorama Pics. But anyway, the Ninja Star, what I am most excited about this little box that's going to record the uncompressed video straight out of the camera via the HDMI cable for almost any camera is that the thing is going to be $299. $290. How much, Sutter?
$299.
That's right. $299. Why? Because that's affordable. That's now it's available to pretty much anybody. You can now take this video, like we sit here with the Atomos on the main camera, because it has a screen so we can look at it, but we'll be able to put Atomoses on the other cameras. Even on the GoPro up there, we'll be able to put this Ninja Star on there because it's going to record the video straight out of the camera, like straight out of Compton, and it's going to give us the ability to do that video high quality the way we want it.
And the great thing is it's so tiny, literally almost the size of the GoPro, that it'll fit on like a quadcopter or something like that, which
still doesn't make any sense why you would put it on a quad. Oh, actually, it does make sense why you'd put it on a quadcopter for the higher quality video.
Yeah.
Duh.
And it's funny because remember when we first got the original Ninja, what was what was the first one we got?
Ninja 2.
Oh, Ninja,
the Ninja 2,
2.
Yeah. When we got that was one of the first things we said. They needed an affordable, smaller option, no screen, just something to record.
I think I sat on the phone with the CEO of the company or on Skype line, and I was like, why don't we have... I'm like, you need a box, a $299 box with lights on the front that you press the buttons and you can see what you're doing, and it's affordable to everybody. And well, it's now going to be available shortly, called the Ninja Star.
Yeah.
We ready?
Yes, sir.
Photo news?
Photo news. We have, first up, a waterproof point-and-shoot camera that washed ashore finally found its proper owners after being lost for 2 years. I feel like this story happens like every week on Photo News.
I was just going to say that.
The camera, a Canon PowerShot D10, was lost on a couple's honeymoon. It features several photos from their wedding along with their actual honeymoon. A woman named Marion Rogers found it back in 2012 and went to the news just recently to find its rightful owners. The news story stirred up interest and ended up reuniting the camera with the newlyweds.
Who are now divorced.
And all the photos are still intact. I mean, it is a waterproof camera after all, but...
I've had enough of this. I've had enough of you people losing your cameras in the water. I'm going to go somewhere. Wherever I go in the Caribbean, I'm going to take a freaking SD card, and I'm going to get some waterproof Pelican or box, and I'm going to throw that thing into the ocean.
Put in a bottle.
Instead
of a message in a bottle, you have photos.
I'm going to put an
bottle.
SD card in a bottle. Good one. We should write a song. Message in a... But John
Photos
Mayer...
in a bottle.
Oh, yeah. John Mayer's version, though. Let's sing it. I'll sing... Photos in a bottle. Mm. Photos in a bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Photos. I got my photos in a bottle and I'm throwing it into the water and then it's gonna wash up in the shore one day. If you find this video on this bottle, please upload it to the YouTube and hashtag it Frono's Photo. Please contact me via Twitter whenever you find this. Hopefully it's not in 20 years. Message in photos in a bottle. Hashtag photos in a bottle, everybody. Back to your photo news. Oh, by the way, all photo news stories can be found this week at fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-90. Go.
90. I can't believe we're on 90 already.
And you've been here for like 50.
Since like 33 or something like that. More rumors on the Canon 7D Mark II. That's been long rumored for a while. The APS-C camera is rumored to be announced in August. Reports are coming in that the original 7D will no longer be available from dealers starting in July. So rumor sites are speculating that it'll arrive the following month. Now, it's been rumored that they will be showing off the camera at Photokina in September too. And apparently most new products presented there are originally announced in August. So this is kind of all making sense now, but they've also been saying that's been coming for the past like 2 years. So it's a 5-year-old camera now.
I know
It still holds up.
Oh, it does.
It holds
Don't
up,
get me
but
wrong.
the quality is not as. It was a fantastic camera when it first came. It's like I'm tired of hearing people say, "Well, the Nikon D400's coming." The Nikon D400's not coming. It's not coming.
But
unless it comes next week.
The D800S might be coming, though, soon, apparently. That has also been rumored, I think, to be coming the end of June. They're saying it's confirmed now. I don't know. If
Allegedly confirmed by
again,
Nikon rumors.
Who knows? We have, moving forward, Britain's Sunday Times magazine paid tribute to photojournalists in a new video showcasing some of the most iconic
Is that what you put up on YouTube today?
Yes.
I was in bed watching that.
How good was that, dude?
I couldn't watch it all because I couldn't read it, but it looked incredible as they like 3Dized.
I
that
would
made
love,
it look stereographic.
I don't know how to do that, but I would
don't know.
love to do something like that. Like make the image 3D.
How's the time?
But so they showcase some of the most iconic and powerful photos from the last century in this little video. The video is a part of an ongoing promotional project that the Sunday Times put together to help tell the world why photojournalism is so important in a time where so many newspapers are laying photographers off.
Oh, well, they need to get over this. First off, these newspaper people need to get over the fact of like living in the old ages thinking that these newspapers are going to be relevant or that photographers can even get a job that's worthy of having at a newspaper when they're not going to hire you because they don't have the money because very few. How many people over the age of, well, me, I don't even get a newspaper at my house. My dad only gets one now at his place. I'm 33 and I don't get a newspaper.
Well, it's like when I worked at CVS years ago, we had newspapers come every day from like 5 different newspaper companies, and only like one old dude would come in maybe once a week and get the newspaper. We ended up crediting more papers than we actually sold, and we ended up actually not selling any papers after about 2 years. So it's just, I don't know. It's a dying medium for sure.
Did you ever play
which is a
Paperboy?
shame. Yes.
Did you ever play Paperboy?
I don't know what that is.
Game
Oh my
Boy
God!
Paperboy.
Jesus, Nintendo Paperboy.
I didn't
Did they
have
just
any
do a movie
Nintendo
too
anything.
on that, like a movie version of it?
What do I look like? I'm from Frono's Movies, and I should know everything about movies.
Yes.
Why don't we ask Sutter about that? He would not know anything.
We have photographer Ignacio Ferrando rigged 6 GoPros and brought them on a roller coaster, creating a 360-degree little planet-like video. Really cool. It's pretty nauseating, though, to watch, but a very cool perspective of the roller coaster ride. Yes, Jared?
I'm raising my hand for anybody who can't see. I am tired of these videos, too.
Really? I
I'm
think they look
tired
awesome.
of these 6 GoPro world view thing. If you're on a roller coaster, I would love to see it just the ride and like your face the whole time. So you have 2 of it, so you have the split angle. I don't get much out of the world view thing personally.
It looks crazy awesome, that's why.
Yeah, it's overdone now.
I don't think it's overdone at all. I
think it's overdone.
I think this is just starting. But what I think they should do is GoPro should like sell some kind of custom rig or setup, because this is really taking off now.
Yeah, I mean,
or in your
they
opinion,
should.
overdone.
I couldn't. It was not to me. I like roller coasters. I mean, I went to a theme park recently, and I rode a bunch of roller coasters.
Did you?
And I think that it's just, I just like watching the roller, like the actual ride, not this 3D, this thing.
Well, yeah, I want to know how he actually got this on the roller coaster. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
'cause
he
they-
worked for.
Yeah, because why would
there
they
or
let you
something.
do it?
Yeah, exactly. A new set of beautiful images from Iceland captured via infrared are now online. The series, called Blue Iceland and just Iceland, one set having a blue tint, the other being black and white, was taken by photographer Andy Lee. Lee used a converted DSLR to take all the photos, and he's planning to return to Iceland for more photos soon, but you got to check these out. just breathtaking images, very amazing stuff. This is why I want to just get into infrared photography because of this kind of stuff, like landscape photography.
Well, we can take any older camera and convert it to infrared. It would be pretty cool.
Well, Bruce Wayne did that, remember?
Bruce Wayne did, and Fuji used to make an S5 version that was infrared only. It came that way.
By the way, have we ever heard from Bruce Wayne from that rig we sent him?
No, I haven't really. I heard from him once, but then I didn't really follow up.
That was like almost a year ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Last summer during the photo walk.
Yep.
Photo walk. There's a new Then and Now photo series featuring past and present photos of Paris for the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Paris. So photographer Julian Nez placed the physical vintage photographs in their current surroundings, retracing the entire city's history from that week. Nez ended up matching 50 photographs with their surroundings. Really cool stuff. Literally just put a photograph, the old vintage photograph up in the frame, took the picture, lined it up perfectly. It's just really cool to see, like, there's a tank, there 70 years ago.
I'm still a big fan of old videos or I'm a fan of old and new. I've always sat there, like, I used to be,
so this isn't overdone.
It's getting there. I didn't want to say it. Well, no, it's cool when it's done well.
Yeah,
what
agree.
I've realized, I used to sit in school, elementary school, and I used to sit there and I would be like, I wonder what it would be like to be in this place 100 years ago. 150 years ago, 200. Like, I would try to imagine what this place was like.
I do that all the time.
And I love seeing this type of stuff. It's just pretty cool.
Well, it's like your building, your loft. I mean, how old is this?
This is over 100 years, I believe, and I've seen the photos of the street from 100 years ago.
Isn't there that one website?
There is, but that website pisses me off.
Because did they let you order anything? Or
they charge you like $600 to get a print.
But it should be free.
Well, it's over 100 years. Nobody should own these photos.
That's what I mean.
So, right, it's over. The copyright is gone.
I understand they're charging for the print, but not to own the picture.
I need to just email and be like, give me the digital. I'll pay you for the digital file.
Yeah.
But I'm not paying you $600 to make me some framed print that I don't want from you, because I think it should be public domain, public records to get those photos.
I think it is.
I got to find them because there was no other site that I found. This site's great for seeing old photos from literally every street corner or from everywhere. It's great. It's awesome. But I was not happy that it's a business and that I can't get access to the digital file and do it myself.
Do they just show you like a really low res image
basically
on the website?
Yeah, you can't take
access the high res.
But I'm gonna have to. Maybe I'm gonna call the archives of Philadelphia and see if there's a way to get to them.
I'm sure there is. We should film it too.
Good. Make a note.
A woman named Andrea Mears attacked a photographer for using a drone over a beach.
Oh, Jesus, I forgot about this.
Yeah. So the incident took place last month at Hammonasset Beach in Madison, Connecticut. It all happened after she was upset that he was taking pictures of people on the beach, public property.
Taking
Video, or was it video?
I think so. It looked like a quadcopter that he built himself.
Okay. So basically she was claiming he was a pervert, calling him all these names. She ended up calling the police on him while he was packing up his gear. She just started like randomly assaulting him. She ends up ripping his shirt off, not off all the way, but ripping it, trying to hit him while he puts her in like this hold.
She also fish hooked him.
Did she fish hook him?
Yeah.
I didn't even
She fish hooked him. She's like, how do you like it? How do you like it, you pervert?
So the best part is that the photographer caught all of this on video. Now, when the police arrived, the woman tried telling the cops that he assaulted her. Now, he showed them the video. They ended up flipping the charges around and arrested her for assault in the 3rd degree and breach of peace in the 2nd degree. And she's scheduled to appear in court later this week on the 19th.
Okay.
So, yeah, she ended up getting screwed over on this whole thing.
Well,
not screwed over. She deserved it.
How do we kid gloves this without being called sexist? Or we won't call it sexist. We'll just... They weren't going to believe him if he didn't have the video.
Exactly.
Could you fathom that the hearsay... I was watching a video, and I'm going to come back to this because this is relevant to the story. It was done in London, where on the street there was a woman. They started with a guy like pushing his girlfriend or verbally abusing her and then physically abusing her, and of course people are going to come up and try to stop it. Then they flipped it, and it was a woman pushing a man, abusing him, hitting him. He wasn't doing anything to her, and people are sitting there laughing. sitting there not doing anything about it because it's a woman hitting a man, and then they flash up on the screen 40% of domestic violence is caused by women on men.
Interesting.
And it's that they have that whole yes women hashtag for women getting I absolutely 100% am for equality of all cases,
for sure.
straight across the board, especially when it comes to women in the workplace getting less pay. There is absolutely no reason why a woman should get less money than a man for doing the same exact job.
Agreed.
I also think you're seeing a strong change in the government, that there's a large part of women getting voted into the Congress and in the Senate. We're going to have a woman president if she decides to run.
Yeah.
Clinton decides to run, which I have we're not going to go there. We could have a woman president. So I think that it's needed. I think women have a tremendous view of how things should be done. Maybe not as hard-headed as most men, especially in government. But for this guy to be assaulted and to have the first things happen is that the police think that it was him in the wrong. And if he didn't film this, nobody came and helped him. Nobody walking by came and helped him.
Well, that's what I'm surprised, because he's like yelling out the whole time.
I'm being
Help,
assaulted.
I'm getting assaulted.
Well, he was. I don't know. It's real. The first thought I had was, is this fake? Because he was really calm, stopping this, like putting her into like a
but he was
scissors
also
lock.
filming himself, so I mean, he probably couldn't.
He was filming himself,
He knew
and he's
not
like,
to
"Are
do
you
anything.
Are you done assaulting me?
Yeah.
Are you done assaulting me? I'm only touching you because you're assaulting me." She just flipped out on the guy. So I mean,
I thought she was drunk. I don't know if she was.
she's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Absolutely no place for this. She called the cops 3 times. She didn't have her facts straight at all. This guy is taking pictures on the beach. So what? It's private property.
Public.
Public property. And in this day and age now, we all have to be more careful, because you never know when somebody's just going to attack you for doing what you are able to do. It's a tough situation now.
It is.
It is a very tough situation. But what you have to see this video, and it's appalling what this woman did to this guy. In any case, what one person did to another person, and that he didn't strike her back. I don't know how you don't defend yourself. And if he hit her, then are they going to press charges? But he was defending himself.
Well, I want to know if also his quadcopter is broke, because in the video he places it down like right next to him. And then he ends up putting like the hold on her like there in that same spot. So it looks like she probably rolled right on it. I'm assuming that's probably screwed up too.
This lady must be messed up, because as soon as her phone rang, she stopped fighting the guy to answer her phone.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hold on, I'm assaulting
Hold
somebody.
on, I'm
real quick.
assaulting somebody. I'm fish hooking him. All right, here we go.
We have sample footage of iOS 8's new time-lapse feature that hit the web. It looks like any standard time-lapse video pretty much, but I figured I'd bring this up since it was a pretty light news week. It's just nice to know that you don't have to lug around like a 5D with an intervalometer every time you want to take a time-lapse video. Now you have your iPhone to do it, even though there was several apps, but now it's built into iOS 8.
What happens if you get a phone call?
I don't know. It's a good question. I wonder, well, I mean, if it was me, I would put it in airplane mode first.
I wonder who be doo who wrote the book of love.
We've got, this is really powerful. Photographer Robin Savage posted a new photo series called The Last of the Liberators, which showcases D-Day British vets photographed at locations where they fought in Normandy. Now, the 70th anniversary of D-Day just passed last week, or probably about 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording. These vets were photographed during the 68th and 69th anniversaries of D-Day, so 1 or 2 years ago. The photos were recently published in a new photo book last week of the same name. There's also behind-the-scenes video of the photo shoots to go along with all the photos. Just really amazing images. I mean, the faces alone tell the stories in these pictures.
Well,
so
these guys
cool to check
are
out.
in their late 80s and 90s now.
Oh, they got to be 90s, I would say.
Well, you just think, if they were some people snuck into the army at 17. They changed their dates. And that's 70 years ago.
Yeah, it's got to be.
They're 87. They're anywhere from 87 to the 90s if they're still alive.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that 500 a day are dying from World War II.
Oh, I believe it.
But I recommend going and watching Band of Brothers.
So good.
One of the best.
So good.
The best series I think I've ever watched.
It's not an easy series to watch.
I didn't like the Pacific though. I will say that.
I'm not
I
even
did like the Pacific.
Really?
Nobody
I didn't.
liked the Pacific except for Sutter, I think. I will not watch it because everybody said it was nowhere close.
Because they focused on like the love stories too, not really,
really?
more of the war. Where the Band of Brothers original series, I feel like focused more on the actual war and the story of the soldiers.
Unbelievable. It's 10 hours. I believe it's 10 episodes.
It is.
It's on HBO. If you have the Go app, watch this thing. It is powerful. The stories are incredible. And Tom Hanks did a fantastic job as a producer of that thing.
And then he did Saving Private Ryan.
And Saving Private Ryan, The Thin Red Line, all of these type of movies are unbelievably fascinating.
Yeah, my favorite series and my favorite movie, Saving Private Ryan. A photographer named Jonathan Keyes went out on the streets to take portraits, but with a 130-year-old wooden camera and a 100-year-old lens. He only takes about 6 photos a day because of the intense process for the wet plate photography. Interesting images, though, that look like they're clearly from like the 19th century. The odd part is how he uses it for street photography, something you would typically use like a fast-paced camera for or something. It takes about 15 minutes for each picture, basically from prepping the plate to exposing it to developing, all that kind of stuff. So he gets these subjects, photographs them with an insanely old camera, and they come out with this awesome picture that looks like it's 150 years old.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. We have Canon released a new video tutorial showcasing the proper methods for cleaning your gear. Pretty standard stuff, though, featuring...
Step 1.
Yeah.
Put a quarter into the vacuum cleaner at the local drive-through mini-mart.
And the lady in the video is like... pretty much kind of the same thing.
Oh, really?
She's like, first you get a brush and you clean your body. Like all like smiling and stuff. Pretty cheesy, but it is good tips.
We need to spoof this shit.
It features how to clean like your lens with a lens cloth, air blower, that kind of stuff.
Did they breathe on the lens?
They didn't breathe on the lens.
What'd they do?
They just they said to use the high alcohol solution and to start in the middle and to end on the
Alcohol
outside.
solution.
Yeah.
I want to rub alcohol on my lens. That's what I want to do.
They said to do alcohol.
I'm not putting liquid on my... I will breathe on my lens. Like
They didn't say to douse it in it or anything. They just said to slowly, kind of get
Dab
a little...
it?
Yeah, dab it and then smear it and go all that
like
stuff.
vodka?
I guess. Everclear?
No.
No. But they also show you how to clean the body. They even show you how to clean the sensor, which is kind of scary because this is kind of a beginner type video. And they're like, oh, and then flip your mirror up and clean your sensor.
How did they flip the mirror up?
They just did it in the actual menu.
Dude, so many...
It's a good video for those who don't really know how to properly clean your
I'm not saying
equipment.
that's not. I'm saying I got a message from somebody who told me that they had an issue with their sensor. I think they used Scotch tape on it.
I personally wouldn't touch my sensor. I'm scared of that kind of stuff.
I don't, and I don't clean my own sensor.
They have that one, that gel one that a lot of people
would
use.
not do that on my sensor
I
either.
personally would probably break it. Or
I
something.
tried the Arctic butterfly.
Oh, that one? That's
Back in the day.
The big one that a lot of people use, right?
I don't even know if they use it anymore.
I thought they still do.
It's that one where it spins.
Yeah.
And so I tried it back in the day.
Take all the
I called it a
static
crap gadget, and I reviewed it in the bathroom because it was a piece of shit. It's this thing that you spin. Like, you think that maybe you're supposed to spin it in the camera, and I didn't do that because I read up how to properly do it.
Charge or something?
You spin it charges, then you sit there and you wipe this way and you wipe this way, and all it did was smear the oil streaks on my D3. I think at the time it was a D3, and it just smeared oil streaks all across it in the corners and everything.
On the sensor?
Oh, yeah. Well, because there was oil streaks from the sensor.
Yeah.
Anybody that has a D600 is all up in arms. Again, yes, they had that oil issue, but I will tell you that my D3 was one of the dirtiest full-frame cameras I've ever had. It didn't have sensor cleaning built into it, and there were streaks upon streaks, and guess what? I didn't bitch about it because it never really showed up in the images unless I was shooting at f/16 or higher.
I wonder how well the sensor cleaning built into the software actually works. I know it's supposed to vibrate.
No, it vibrates and it gets dust off
Yeah.
of it, but it's not going to do anything about oil.
That's what I mean, yeah. And then we have only a couple more stories. We have a wedding photographer named Josh Newton created some incredible wedding photos after having newlyweds pose with a wildfire as the backdrop. The wedding...
Wildfire. John Mayer's got a new Wildfire song.
Does he really?
Yeah, it's the name of his album, I think. It's called Wildfire.
The wedding actually had to be evacuated since the wildfires were so close to it, but before they left, the photographer got some, like once-in-a-lifetime shots. Some say the wildfires weren't a good choice, and some think that they were breathtaking. So I, for one, choose the latter. I think they're just really interesting and amazing photos. This tells the story of the day. This is what happened.
This is an atrocity that you are shooting in front of such a dangerous thing. This is unbelievable. The humanity of those people in the wildfires. 1920s.
Walter Cronkite?
No. There was a wildfire today in was it Colorado?
You know what? I don't even know where it was.
There's a wildfire somewhere at a wedding, and a photographer decided to take pictures. Could have made for a very interesting background, and people are thinking that it's controversial because they shouldn't have done it. Yeah, they shouldn't have done it. I call malarkey. Malarkey and shenanigans. Now back to the photo news.
Then we have one last story. So a photographer got denied access to a theme park for wearing his I Shoot Raw shirt.
It's true.
Wasn't that you?
That was me.
That was you?
Yeah, but it is photo news this week.
It is.
It made all of the. It was on every single. It started with F-stoppers because they reached out to me as soon as they must listen to the podcast.
Nice.
Whoever it was, because it was only the audio up, and he's like, "I wrote a story. Is it all right if we put it up?" I said, "Give me a day
Very
or two."
lengthy story too, and detailed. I liked it.
Yeah, he got most of it right, except for they took me to a room to interrogate me.
He put that in there.
He did. I'm
Where
like,
did that come from?
I'm like, that's not factual. You need to get rid of that.
Let me spice it up a little bit.
I was like, they took him to her. I'm like, no.
Beating him.
I'm like, I stood there the whole time. But it started with F-stoppers, and then by the morning, Petapixel picked it up, and then SLR Lounge, and then DIY Photo, and all of these, and there's so many people hashtagging or adding Six Flags on Twitter. I'm waiting for a response. I'm waiting for.
I was gonna say they haven't reached out to you, right?
Well, they haven't been on Twitter in 3 days. They haven't tweeted in 3 days. Because I looked.
Is everyone adding them?
A lot. Oh,
mentioning them?
at Six Flags. How could you do this? At Six Flags. What do you think it means? At Six Flags. Just give an explanation.
What's that video up to? A couple
23, 24,000 when we're recording this in a day, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, it is good. I wonder what they'll say, if they'll respond. Do you think they will?
They don't. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
They would just make it worse.
Yeah,
just let it go away.
I kind of agree too.
Like, this isn't something. Like,
slowly let it fade. There's like a cop chase going on 95 behind us, by the way.
How many cops?
There was like 4. It just passed.
Oh, really?
Lights on, flying by.
Maybe somebody broke the law.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe somebody has an I Shoot Raw shirt on.
But I think they're catching that lady who assaulted that dude with the drone.
Oh God, that lady. I wouldn't punch her in the face. I would theoretically punch her in the face. It's tough. Anyway, back to this whole thing before we finish up. I've read some comments
For the Six Flags thing?
and then the majority of them, for once, are actually supportive.
I was surprised too.
And there's only a few people ripped on the vertical video thing. Look, I wasn't even thinking about vertical video at the time. I was more thinking, I'm just going to record you. And I really was just holding it up indiscriminately.
Well, I can tell you weren't like in
No,
her face
I wasn't in her
holding it.
face. I was holding it next to her.
It looked like you were just holding it like
I
by
was
your
just holding
side.
it right here.
Yeah.
I really was. I wasn't trying to put it in her face. You know, I wanted to record. And people are like, well, maybe if you didn't have the camera in their face. And I will say that I asked the questions beforehand and they wouldn't give me answers. So I'm like, I'm going to record you. I just want to hear your response.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to know why, because you won't tell me why. I'm going to record you. But anyway, if you want to check that out, that's RAWtalk number 89. It's also up on the website. It's just, we cut it up just by itself as a rant. And it would be interesting to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
If they have anything to say. If I was them, I don't think, I mean, maybe it is negative press because I did get somebody in Canada was at work and they had their bracelets on, and a guy, one of his coworkers who isn't a photographer, came up to him and goes, "Did you hear about that photographer who was denied access to the theme park because of his I Shoot Raw shirt?"
That's funny.
You know it's crossed over when non-photographers start talking about it.
Now, did anyone else respond? Did you hear any stories about like other people not getting into public places with their I Shoot Raw shirt on? Or because I didn't really read all the comments though. But
I think most people just get either dirty looks or then explain it to somebody. Yes, Sutter?
When I was in high school last year, I wore one of my I Shoot Raw shirts to school one day, and like one of my teachers just asked me, because I mean, of course, it's kind of like weird. And once I told her it was fine, it wasn't a problem. But a couple people asked me about it, and once I gave them the real definition, they didn't have an issue.
It's meant to start a conversation.
Yeah.
I am not going to sit there and gloss over the fact that I Shoot Raw could mean many things. Originally, I Shoot Raw, I was like, oh, that's a photography term.
well, yeah, to photographers.
And then I put it on a shirt. And then you get those people that want to know what it means. And yes, I don't think it has anything to do with guns, Nobody ever comes up to me and goes, "Oh, that's a gun reference." No, they come up and go. Girls look at you and they go, "Oh yeah, you're a raw dog, aren't you?"
I've always heard it as a sexual reference
Right.
every time.
All right, what's next?
I really like those ones though. The ones that kind of have like the movie themes to them.
Yeah,
we need to do more of them.
I'm wearing the Back to the Future one.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more. I need to get a new designer, somebody who's actually a professional designer that will do stuff like this.
And that's more inconspicuous, where it's kind of like hidden. You really have to kind of read it.
I like that too. Speaking of shirts, you can get I Shoot Raw shirts at store.fronosphoto.com for anybody looking for them, and also you can get the I Shoot Raw Black Rapid strap there too. Is that all you have for photo news?
That is it. Yeah, pretty light week.
Well, we probably took a lot of time to talk about it. Adorama Picks. I told you guys that they were giving a code. Readers, you guys ask for codes all the time. I just put up some codes for Father's Day that they sent to me. Anytime they send me codes, I post them on Facebook or on Twitter. And the reason is, when they send a Father's Day code that's like 40% off metal prints, how can you go wrong with 40% off metal prints? If the print was $189 and you take 40% off, you're looking at like, it's now $100. You may be saving $70 to $80 on a print. So if they're going to give that much off, and they also gave a percentage off of photo books, but here's the code that they gave just for Fro readers. It's code all together now, not you guys, all together, PXJAFROBK.
What's with the weird code?
Can you say that again?
They always do PX, probably means pix.
PX makes sense.
It's PXJAFROBK. And the BK stands for books, I'm assuming, because it's
and
good
J
for
is Jared.
The J is for Jared and Fro.
Okay.
Good for 10 by 10 books. They're giving 40% off 10 by 10 books.
One thing I'll say, what?
And it ends at the end of this month, end of June. So it's good. Still like 2 weeks left.
It is great that every time we do codes with them, or when they release a code, it's a big code. It's like 40% off, or 50% or 25%.
Adorama Picks doesn't do pussy codes.
Yes.
Okay? They don't pussyfoot around. They don't tinkle winkle around. They don't tinky dinky. They just give out good codes.
Po. Teletubbies.
Well, I was thinking of, what was it called in Teletubbies? Tinky Winky, right?
I think it was Tinky Winky.
I think it's Tinky Winky, La.
I don't know.
I don't know. Something and then Po. I don't know.
I love you.
They don't have that around anymore, right?
The Teletubbies?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still on.
That was like after me. That was like my little brother watched that.
Okay, so 40% off expires at the end of the month. 10 by 10 books, code PXJAFROBK. I'll post it on the site so you guys can see it. Let's do Gear of the Week before we jump into the art of what do I call this one? The business of photography.
Sounds good.
Gear of the Week. I reached out to Zacuto again because I was having trouble with video, seeing my screen, because I'm blind, if we all know about that. So they sent me out the Zacuto, what do they call this? Why don't they put the name of it on here? I don't know.
Is it on the side with your right hand?
No.
Oh.
It just says Zacuto USA. Anyway, this is an LCD monitor that I believe is 3.2 inches with a built-in Z finder. And it plugs into the camera via HDMI. And I liked using it myself. Because I can put my eye in here, I can see focus better, and that is what I liked about it. And you tried it out the other day. What was your take on it?
I liked it. The only thing I didn't like is there's a slight lag when it comes to like if you're zooming in or zooming out on a camera or anything like that. It's a little delayed, mainly I'm assuming because of the HDMI cable.
Yeah, it's got to feed it from there, from the sensor to here, and then it's got to read it.
But like quality-wise and the sharpness and everything there, like you can tell when you are in focus. Really good. That's what I really like.
And that's why I wanted to. I asked them for this.
And it's nice too to be able to pop that on your hot shoe and just have your camera down a little more. It's a little more comfortable instead of kind of walking around like this with your rig. You can almost be like this, better on the biceps.
Absolutely. And this is a thing that you could add to your rig, so it's right in front of your face or right where your eye is. If you're flying, I was just hand holding it, much more stable the way that I was using it because it put it up higher and it put it right in front of my eye, and like you just said, I could hold the camera lower and it was more stable.
Yeah, well, and you can put your elbows more closer to your stomach and a little more stabilization in general. And yeah.
So they sent me that. I have to return it. I'm not keeping it. I believe that thing's $1,000,
nice.
Which could be worth it if I'm doing more video.
Yeah.
Especially shooting concerts and you're in the pit and stuff.
Well, the Pro Z Finder, isn't that like $400
yeah,
anyway?
$300 or $400 just for the Z Finder
Yeah.
itself. It's literally an LCD screen that powers off of a
yeah, it's an external monitor pretty much.
Canon battery. Mm-hmm. So yeah, external monitor, except it's right in your face. Mm-hmm. It's like a Panzer division for you. Anyway, I asked you guys for questions about the business of photography on Facebook, and I believe about 160 some of them came in, and I'm not doing 160 some of them.
No, why not? Make it a 4-hour RAWtalk?
It would be longer than that. Well, because some of them here's the thing. How do I say it? Without being a dick. All right. There's so many questions, and sometimes as a business person or a photographer, you just have to either have it and figure it out on your own. There's just certain things that you have to figure out for yourself that somebody won't be able to tell you. When you start a business with this, it's okay to talk to other people and to get, if you have pointed questions, but not general, how do I market myself? How do I get better SEO? If you have pointed questions that are concise and then you can ask a friend who's in business and be like, you know what? Here's my business. I'm starting to establish it, and this is what's going on. But what do you think about this idea? When you ask stuff like that, but when they're broad, wide open questions, it's very hard to give somebody an answer. And it's hard in this day and age. Yes, it's hard to make it as a full-time photographer. What else did I say here? And I think that a lot of people feel that there's some kind of secret to being successful. You could be the worst photographer in the world, but the best marketing and branding or business person and get all the jobs in the world, while the so-called better photographers who are unknown may sit on the sidelines because they don't know how to get to the next step.
Happens all the time.
And that's true in any type of business.
It is.
So sometimes you just have to find your own way. You have to figure it out on your own, but it's okay to ask people some things, but you really have to have the confidence in what you're doing. All right. I guess I should start asking her questions. You got to watch. Give me a minute. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right?
That you won't follow.
Right. But some of them I will. Okay. Are we ready here without being a dick?
Ding, ding.
I should just call the show without being a dick. But it's okay. I listened to the podcast. Where's the guy's name? Oh.
You forgot to put it in?
Yeah. Oh, no, this is my note. It's not even a guy's name. There was one other thing. I was listening to a podcast, and Bryan Cranston was on it. And they asked him, have you ever thought about doing anything else when you were trying to be an actor? When you first started, what was your backup plan? He's like, I didn't have a backup plan. If you have a backup plan, you've already failed. If you're thinking about what you're going to do when you fail, you're not giving yourself the ability to succeed. And Morgan Freeman echoed the same thing in a recent podcast as well when they asked him what was his backup plan. He's like, and what people say is, well, my son and daughter wants to be an actor, but I told them that they should have a backup plan to fall back on. Well, you're not all in then. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have something like if you go to college and you get your degree and you take acting classes, but maybe you get a degree in a minor in education so that you do have something else. You're not just an athlete who went to school, got hurt, and then has nowhere to go.
Yeah. It's
nice to have something else that you're capable of doing. But if you enter into any profession or any job thinking about what happens if I fail, then you've already your probability of failing is pretty high.
It's like that Jim Carrey viral video that's been going around the past week. The little inspirational speech he did at some graduation.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Well, he basically talked about how his dad was like a salesman or an accountant or something, and that was his like safe job, but he always wanted to be a comedian, but he took the safe job, ended up getting like laid off only when Jim was like 12 years old, so they had to like pretty much fight to survive from that point on. And Jim Carrey, his whole thing was like, go all in. You have to fight for your dreams. You have to not take a safe job for it. You have to just do it all. Just kind of like what you're saying, what everyone else is saying.
But
same kind of thing, but you got to watch this video. It's a real quick, like minute thing. It's good for anyone, photographers, people.
I didn't push my dad on this one during the interview that we had, but he always wanted to be a sportscaster. We may have touched on it a little bit when he said that he didn't. Well, the bowling thing was one thing, but he always wanted to be a sportscaster. That's why he wanted to go to Northwestern.
He did bring that up, yeah.
And his parents wouldn't let him. But my thing is like, it's never too late to do something. It really isn't. If you enjoy, he could sit in front of a microphone and have a podcast. He really could, a sports podcast, and just say what he wants to say, and it could give him the ability to do that. It may not go anywhere, but he would feel like the sportscaster thing. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you become 30, you become 40, you become 50, and you're like, you never went after that dream of whatever the dream was.
And you don't realize it until you're that age.
I had a dream gone by. La 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 la.
What is that?
That was that woman on the X Factor back in the day.
Oh yeah, you sounded just like her.
I did. I did. All right, I need to speak. Where's my 2-minute warning?
You didn't start.
Sutter.
You didn't.
All right,
You're on your thing still.
all right. Tico Ooms. So I'm going to preface this all. I'm not being a dick. I'm not being a dick. I'm not being a dick. So please don't take it as me being a dick. Dick. Tico Ooms. When should be the right time to change from just earning some money on the side occasionally to I start up a legal business for my photography work? I think everyone's first got some money thrown at themselves before really building a legal business, right? Well, when's the right time to change from just earning? I don't think there is I think you just keep earning. If you're earning money, keep earning money. And I don't know about this whole legal business. I mean, it doesn't matter that as a photographer, you can be a sole proprietor in the U.S., as I know, as I would think, because that's what I did. I was a sole proprietor, and it all fell under me personally, and that was personal income. I think there is no time to change and do something. It's just keep making that money. And when you make more money and you get more jobs, and then you feel like, oh, I don't need this day job, then boom, you have the ability to just do something.
Yep.
All right?
Just like Von Wong.
Von Wong. Yeah, Von Wong hated his job, hated his engineering job, and became a photographer one day.
Yep.
Started with a point and shoot at Best Buy, and we had a nice conversation last night.
Great
I'll tell you about later. I talked to him yesterday.
Oh, I thought you meant the interview.
Steven Miller. Boop, boop, boop.
Band.
Go on, take your money and run. How do you determine when to pull money from your business to essentially pay yourself? You pull money whenever the hell you want to pull money out of your business to pay yourself. If your business can sustain, like I had a business and I lived at home. I didn't have any overhead. If I had to pay rent on my place, I'd have more overhead, but you need money to take for yourself. I mean, does your business, as a photography business, what do you need money for in the business, right? You have to think about that. It's your business. If you don't have a location and you live at home and your wife has a job or whatever, you have a day job and just take the money.
And
then it's your what?
Take the money and
run. Ooh, good one. You should have just been like, ooh.
Yeah,
that was.
I'm not as good as a singer as you are. So.
Oh, so that's what I'm saying. Do you have a question, Sutter?
No, I'm fixing my glasses.
Nice beard that you shaved, by the way.
Thanks. I shaved last night.
You did?
Yeah.
No, I thought you shaved. I saw it anyway.
Do you like my beard? My patchy beard?
Yeah, nice. I just let this bad boy grow. So, Steven, if your business doesn't need a lot of money to run, which it probably shouldn't, then you take money out of the business to pay yourself. Or take a percentage out and leave, say, 25% in the business to reinvest in yourself.
Yep.
Or to reinvest in the business. I mean, to me, buying cameras is investing in my business, investing in me. But I have the money to do that now. Or I always had the money because I was working and I sold gear to get better gear. But whatever, you roll it back in. Boom. What was that?
That was the wrap it up.
Well, make a noise or something.
Got it.
Anthony Sutter was actually doing the false start or charging. False start, number 23, offense.
Or just dancing.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down. Anthony Perez, how did you get your shirt company started? Any ideas and suggestions? Without being a dick, you just start the damn thing. Boom. To me, it's like you can print shirts up, you can attempt to sell them. So many people want to sell shirts today. And I'll tell you something. I'm going to leave this for somebody else's question who asked about starting a shirt company, because I guess I kept 2 of them in here. My suggestions for you, Anthony, how do you start a shirt? How do you get your shirt company started? I'll give you tips, and this is the non-dick version. Find a place that you can purchase shirts from yourself and then go take to the printer and get printed. Try to do high quality stuff and not do low quality, because low quality is just crap. Better quality, people like it more. They're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep buying more. But if you have no following and nobody to sell your shirts to, you're not going to sell any shirts. So you have to figure out, how are you going to get a following to then go ahead and sell shirts to them? That is the answer. You can't just say, I'm going to start a shirt company and expect people to buy it. You could have the best shirts in the world, same thing as being the best photographer on the side, but if nobody knows who you are, then nobody's going to buy your stuff. Was that good?
That was good.
That wasn't dickish.
No.
It's just the hard truth.
You're just being a dick.
Is that the 2-minute noise?
Yeah.
That's the 2-minute noise?
It's a moose, I guess.
No, that was a cow.
That's a cow.
That was a
That was like a cow dying.
Aaron Thompson, how do you suggest people deal with taxes? Do you have an accountant, or do you just do it yourself in a program like QuickBooks? In today's world, people are jack of all trades, doing all marketing, shooting, emailing, invoicing, etc. I'm trying to find the best way to navigate through these crowded waters in a world where the waters are crowded. So yeah, I have an accountant. That I've been going to for a long time, because my job is not to focus on doing taxes. My job is to focus on putting money in the bank account, putting out good content on the internet, not in whatever order you want to say, but because we're talking about money, it's to put money in the bank account, and the accountant takes care of it. I keep QuickBooks so that I put everything in, all the transactions, all my invoices are done through there, and then I give my accountant the accountant version of QuickBooks exported from mine so that they can go ahead, clean it up, tell me what I owe, tell me what needs to be done, and at the end of the year, it's all good to go. So I pay an accountant to do that. I pay a payroll company to pay. I'm the only employee, but I have a payroll company because they send me checks. Well, they direct deposit it. It doesn't cost me that much a year to do, but they also handle all of the withholdings, all of the taxes, all of that stuff, and you'll see how it works when you come full time. Yeah. But that is a tax company. That you in business, if there are things that you can outsource that take away from time from you being successful and you can afford to do it, you outsource it. But I think taxes is one of those things that you don't do yourself. You find somebody and you pay them, because your time is worth more than just wasting time doing the taxes. Good?
Good.
Yes, sir.
Jason Geary. Why don't you answer the statement that Gary Vaynerchuk stated that most photographers are romanticizing the art of photography if they're trying to make a living doing it? So he said this when he was on Chase Jarvis Live. What I think Gary's getting at is, I think he's being a dick, because Gary can be straightforward, and if being a dick if being straightforward is perceived as being a dick, then so be it. I think
The hard truth.
The facts, the truth. What I think Gary is trying to say is that a lot of photographers romanticize the fact that photography is so glamorous. That there's, oh my God, I'm going to be a photographer and I'm going to shoot photos all day. And so basically he's saying that it's unrealistic to think that all you're going to do is shoot photos day in and day out and not have to deal with the taxes, the marketing, the branding, the setting up the makeup director, setting up the locations. 90% of our time is spent doing business and not shooting photos, because that is just how it is. So I think that so many people out there think that it's a glamorous world, and that's the romanticizing part, is that they just think that somebody's going to hand it to them and that it's easy. Hard freaking work is what it takes. Work your ass off. Nobody's going to hand you something and want somebody to give them. Yeah. And I think that he feels that a lot of people in this day and age feel like they are supposed to be given something.
Owed something, yeah.
So you're not owed anything. I want to hear an animal noise.
Now on the spot, I have no idea.
Well, I need a different animal noise every time.
Got it.
Maximo Jedro. I want to start doing photos for real estate agencies. Is going door to door to those agencies a good option to get my first clients in the industry? ? Well, if you're asking me this question, The answer is do whatever the hell it takes to get them to say yes to hiring you to do it. And if going door to door is the answer, then go door to door. All these people sell houses. Every time you drive by a house that has a sign on it, take down the number, take down the real estate agent's name, and call that real estate agent later and come up with a package for them right off the bat in your elevator pitch that says, "Hi, I can make these awesome photos and I can do this flyover of your house," which is going to become a new thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think the DJI Phantom is great for house flyovers.
Perfect.
Because so yes, my answer to your question is knock down the freaking door and find the ones that are big agencies.
Find the big houses.
You're not knocking on the houses asking the people
No,
that
I'm
live
just
there,
saying.
but you're.
See who is.
And
in
honestly,
charge of
yeah,
that
the
house selling it.
$500,000 houses, the more expensive houses are the ones where the real estate agents are probably going to want to pay you more.
Exactly, because they're going to have more of a commission.
They get a higher commission and go to the agency and try to strike a deal with them. I tried to strike a deal with them. It was literally going to be $150 a house, but there could have been 15 to 20 houses a week if everybody in the agency said yes. And I think it was actually going to be maybe $275 or $300, but the agency, the Caldwell banker, whoever it was, the home office was going to pick up half of it. And all the agent had to do was pay the other half. And nobody went for it. Can you believe that? Sutter?
No, because that's really cheap for the agent.
Yeah.
No shit.
That's cheaper than what-
$150 to get a freaking house photo, professionally done house photos that are going to help you sell the house. Because how many times have you logged on overtime? Don't make a noise.
God.
How many times make a noise anyway? And I'll say overtime.
Meow.
Was that a cat?
I guess.
You are a
Dying cat.
terrible noisemaker.
It's not my job.
So, where was I going?
Pay. It's stupid for them not to do it.
Well, yeah. How could they not take it for $150 and the home office was picking it up? How could you not do it? Oh, I've seen a lot of photos of people selling houses, and they're horrible.
It's dirt.
It's just garbage. It's it's cell phone. It's not even point and shoots. It's cell phone pictures. Even if people did panoramic shots, that would be better than your shitty cell phone pictures.
Exactly. Cell phone panoramic. There you go.
But that would
Whammy.
What?
Whammy.
That would look good. But it would look usable.
Better.
But what I think the answer for real estate photography is, it's not even it's a mix of photography and it's a 3-minute video or less. Get the realtor out there, have them sell you tell them all the virtues of this house. It's in a great location with there's great upsale value here. This house has been upgraded with this and this. It's got 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It's located 20, a 5-minute walk from the school, so that's great for the children. You've got these parks, you've got this, and you've done a flyover with a DJI Phantom. You've cut this together, and whammy, you've got a product. But these people turned it down.
Inserting the photos in between, videos of each room, that kind of stuff, making it a
Exactly,
great
making it
commentary
professional.
video.
I
Yeah.
need to move on quicker. John Reams, buy, lease, or go without a studio space. What situation warrant each choice? He meant warrants. I need to put an S in there. Buy, lease, or go without a what the hell do you need a studio for today? Why do you need that nut that you need to crack every single month? Studio locations, unless you're like the guy downstairs who's doing nonstop IKEA shoots and what's that place where you shop? Urban Outfitters. He doesn't shop at Urban Outfitters, but he does photo shoots nonstop for these guys, for clothing companies.
How much rolls of seamless did
Dude,
he have the other day?
see, I take the trash out in the building, the recyclables every Tuesday. That's my thing. I've volunteered to do that, and they filled a whole big ass flip over trash can with seamless rolls. They get the 9-foot rolls, and they were cutting them in half, and there must have been 10 or 12 seamless rolls. And they piss me off that they don't take them out themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, anyway.
And the building where their studio is literally next to the trash right there.
I just want them to give one of their I've asked them, I'm like, look, all the trash is coming from you guys.
And they've got like 20 assistants too.
All of the recyclables every week, you guys have catering, you guys have this. You fill 2.5 of the 3 recyclables. Just have one of your damn assistants on a Tuesday help out and take some shit outside.
Yep.
They're like, no. Fuck you. So anyway, Joe Bean, lease. unless you're nonstop booked, a studio is a waste of money. It's vanity. It's you want to. In the 80s and 90s, studios were necessary to go because that's where people went and got portraits. Nobody does that anymore. Your world is your studio. You could rent a studio when you get a job and that pays for it, or you could live in if you have a place, you could live there and have a studio space in it.
Like your place.
Like my place. I could do anything out of here.
Your 20-foot ceilings.
That's a snake. All right. Raul Sanchez. Expos like wedding and others. Do you go to as many as you can to pick and choose? Or go to as many as you can at first, then be picky as you get work? So this is a good question, business related. If you're looking to do weddings, find wedding expos that are higher end wedding expos that when you call, like they're held at nice hotels, it's going to cost you, I think you should pay $600 an expo.
The AVN Expo that's going to go to?
That's not a wedding expo. And I doubt you're finding a lot of people getting married there.
You might find love there.
You might find some kind of love there. But what I would do when you're doing weddings, you're finding jobs at weddings, you have to invest in this. You have to invest in it. Here's the questions you ask when you call these expo people. How many photographers do you allow at the event? If they say, well, it's unlimited, I would not do that event because you don't want to go to an event where there's 25 photographers. That's too many choices. That may be good for the client showing up, but that's terrible for you. If it's 5, that is a good option. If there's like 100 tables and 5 photographers, or there's maybe 35 tables, 40 tables, and 5 photographers, good. You got to make yourself a little booth. It's got to look good. You got to showcase what you do. You got to sell yourself on location when you're there. Pick and choose. I don't just go to every single one. I find the ones that may have the best, the higher end clientele. Mm-hmm. Because you know the areas that are higher end. There's certain places where I wouldn't go do it because certain people may be price shopping and not caring so much about quality. So it's a great investment. And why is it one of the best investments you could do? Because you are being put in front of your clientele directly. They're all people who are getting married. 100% of the people that show up are looking because they're engaged or they're getting married. You're not going to find that advertising in a newspaper or a random magazine.
Move on, Jared. Finding Nemo whale sound. Remember Dory?
Oh, okay.
She would talk like really.
Okay, I'll take that. Come get me the wheel, please.
Yes, sir.
Is time good?
We got 9 minutes.
Okay, yeah, get me the wheel. We got Rob Timko, photography. I've gotten different opinions from different, very credible photographers in the industry on this one. Nudity, NSFW, on my main website. The consensus is usually show what you want to shoot, not what you shoot. I shoot edgy fashion. Do you think it scares off bigger clients? My clients are small local apparel companies, agencies. I follow him on Instagram. He's got hot girls on Instagram. I mean, literally, he is shooting some beautiful. Well, they're hot. They're sexy. It's
and not safe for work.
R Timko, RTIMKO on Instagram. Follow him. So here's my answer to you. If you're going to make a living at being this guy that shoots this type of photos, then I have no problem with you having that website for that. But if you're branching out and you're doing things for corporate America or corporate other different types of corporate things or weddings, if you're afraid that somebody's going to see this work and not hire you, then either don't do this work or don't have a website. Have this on your website. Have it on a separate website. Have our Timko Photography be something else where you're just focusing on your weddings or a certain type of photography. But look, be who you are. If this is what you want to do and the type of work that you love and the type of work that you think you can make money at, then you focus on this. Don't try to hide who you are because certain people want you to fit into a mold. I wouldn't be sitting here today if I listened to everybody and cut my hair and shaved my sideburns back in the day and said, well, you're not going to get a job because of the way you look. And I persevered through that shit and I did what I wanted to freaking do to get to where I wanted to go because that was what was going to make me happy. I danced to my own beat of my own damn drum, and that's what happened. So my answer to you, what, Sutter?
Finish.
My answer to you is if this is what you want to be known for, as a guy who takes these NSFW nude photos, risky photos, then that's who the hell you are, then go for it. All right, are we ready? I'm giving Robert Timko a spin because he follows the site. He's been around quite a long time. Next week, actually landing today, one of the Fro readers, I believe his name's Donovan, went and made me, he's a graphic design student. He reached out to me and said, can I make you the Wheel of Fro stuff? And hopefully it fits, because he said I gave him the dimensions to the wheel. He looked it up, and we can slide the stuff under here, or we could tape it on the front, and we're gonna have new graphics on the wheel.
We don't need new graphics. These are so professional looking.
I like my graphics. We got Rode microphone, which we've landed on a bunch of times. Can you tighten the wheel? It's spinning on its own.
I don't know if we can.
It just feels wobbly because
Turn that knob.
I blame. So how about the wheel on the? How about the knob on the bottom?
It's the same as it was.
All right, we've got Rode microphones, Think Tank Photo, Adorama Pics. Don't forget about that code that I said earlier. Borrow lenses, $250. Squarespace, you've got Squarespace on there. You've got my Fronos Photo stuff. You've got a Black Rapid strap, another Fronos Photo. I got another Think Tank coming all around. We got Lexard. And let me tell you guys one thing. I'm doing remind me, I got to talk about this survey, because this is coming out. Okay, I'm just going to tell you now. The survey. I'm doing a Fronos Photo survey. I haven't done one in a long time. So look for that email, or it's at fronosphoto.com/survey, where I ask you questions. You can finish it in literally 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. Please take the time to answer, because it's going to help me determine what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see more of, things like that. But I'm making a contest out of it. So by taking it, I am doing a lot of giveaways. I'm giving away a rapid fire critique session for somebody. They're going to get their 10 photos critiqued by me privately. They're going to get that. I'm giving away 2 I Shoot Raw Black Rapid straps. I'm giving away $200 in Adorama Pics credits, $200 in Borrow Lenses credit, a free year of Squarespace, 10 Fronos Photo video guides. I'm giving you guys a lot of stuff. Please take the time. The surveys are very important, and that's why you have to use your email address so that we can contact you if you win. But these questions are going to help the site get better and help the content keep evolving. So that's what I have to say. That's the survey. You didn't even know about that, did you?
I did not know about that.
It's just because it's starting this Saturday, so this is going to be out by that time, and it runs till the end of the month. So please take the couple minutes to do it. It definitely helps. Good?
Wheel
Oh, thanks, Sutter. All right. Okay, I'm just going to spin. Okay, I figured out how to actually spin the wheel. Round and round it goes where it stops. Nobody knows. Robert Timko Photo. It's going to stop on NSFW. Oh my God, it could be. Could it be? Could it be? Oh! It's not on the question mark. It didn't even... Oh, it did. It went right past it.
Yeah.
But and I think the wheel isn't wobbling. So congratulations, Robert Timko Photo. You are getting yourself a Rode microphone to go ahead and record your girls that you shoot. It's probably the way that he removes the wheel. He's a kid. All right, now back to the show.
One of these days, that thing's gonna like fly off and hit me right in the face.
I know. And then we'll have
buzzsaw.
to get like Wheel of Plinko or something.
Yeah.
And I want to do I may buy a Plinko board next. I wanted to buy a Plinko board.
I know you did.
$10,000 for the big industrial
Are you
one.
serious?
But you can get a cheaper one, but I don't like cheaper. All right.
10 grand it is.
I don't like cheaper, but I like the tape paper on that's graphics.
You're right. Stephanie Rozizicki. Yep, it's Rozizicki. When you quit your first job to do only Fronos Photo, were you scared about the future or confident about your company? Cheers from France. Okay, so to answer this question, I was already working for myself. I was already working for myself at the time of starting Fronos Photo. I was doing weddings. I had the idea, I'm going to make money. And weddings were where the money was. And I was doing well with weddings. I was doing 15 to 20 higher-end weddings a year, plus other jobs on the side. And I was saving money up when Fronos Photo started. And I went all hell balls deep in. I went all in on Fronos Photo. I didn't have a backup plan in case I failed. I knew that I'm a photographer. I can always shoot photos and I can always get paid, and I'm not really going to work for somebody, but I knew I didn't think about failing there. But I will tell you that when I was working at camera stores doing a 9-to-5 job, is that is the ultimate death sentence to a photographer or to a creative type. Because you go in, you leave
really
your place
is.
at like between 8 and 8:30, depending on how far the place is from you. You work from 9 to freaking 5. You get home at 6 o'clock to have dinner, to watch Orange is the New Black, and then go to bed and start all over again.
All over again.
You can't do business. You cannot succeed if you're trying to do something in the creative field when you're working a 9 to 5. You have to make that decision of what you're going to do. So was I scared to stop doing the other thing? No, not really, because I knew what I was already a photographer. Trace Van Gordon. I am a concert photographer, about to begin a concert photography podcast. I want to become an infamous concert photographer. I have a Squarespace website which you just funded for a year. Well, you got the Wheel of Frospin, and that's what it landed on. I want to sell T-shirts. So here lies my question. Do I have to stock my inventory, or is there somewhere that will print my shirts to order and still pull a decent profit? Keep up the good work. You need a following first. That's my note.
It's a good question though about the T-shirts.
Yeah, it's a good question
I've kinda
about the
wondered that
T-shirts,
myself.
but let me talk about this. You want to become an infamous concert photographer? I don't know what that means.
Like notorious concert photographer.
Okay,
I'm not going to be in the pit when he's around.
I don't know that's. I get it. Like I wanted. Concert photography is one of the hardest things that you're going to get to be an infamous photographer. You got to really set yourself apart and be so different that you're creating things that people really want, and not just doing the same thing that everybody's doing. If that's your goal, go for it 100%, but put your balls to the wall and go for it.
Balls deep.
So in terms of shirts, again, the idea of selling shirts to make money, you need to create something that is unique and different and something that somebody wants to wear. They're not going to wear Trace Van Gordon T-shirts unless you're driving a car and you're Dale Gordon Jr. I know nothing. Is his name Dale Gordon? Dale Earnhardt Jr. Gordon?
That's Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, I'm thinking
You're
of
thinking
the
of,
Rainbow Warrior guy. Is the
No,
other
there's
Gordon.
Gordon. There's Jeff Gordon.
I know nothing
Jeff
about
Gordon's the
auto
other race car
racing.
driver. I had actually a kid that I went to school with whose name was Jeff Gordon. We'd be like, "Hey, race car driver, where you going today? You on the track today?"
All right. So here's the thing with the T-shirts, and I'm going to say this, that I was told, I said that I wanted to, and this was before Frono's Photo, in my period of I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with my life part, and I was talking with Ari, and I'm like, I want to create this book. I want to do the 6 degrees of Frono's Photo. I want to go out and do this. And he goes, well, who's going to buy it? You can make it all you want, but who's going to buy it if nobody knows who the hell you are, right? So with the T-shirts or with anything, you need a following before somebody's going to find you to buy something. I would never sell an I Shoot Raw shirt if I was just a guy without a website. Nobody would find it. Nobody would know it existed. You have to become known. You have to work your way to that. People have to come to know you and follow what you're doing, or offer a product that is just freaking unique that everybody has to have. Lens bracelets, right? What Ella Macias made. It was just different. It was a lens bracelet, and everybody's ripped them off now.
Blew up.
But it blew up.
Oh, yeah.
So in terms of your question, no, you should not stock inventory on your own if it's not going to sell. When I first started, I didn't know it was going to sell. I stocked 72 shirts. I may have even ordered 48 because I didn't know. I had 5. I literally had 5 of each shirt size on hand. That was it. And then I would order some more. Then I would order some more. Yeah. I don't think there's companies online that do a great job with allowing you to print on demand. If you want to go to that direction of printing on demand, you have to make sure that they do quality shirts, not Gildan. Try to find some ring spun cottons, alternative apparel, American apparel. There's a bunch of different companies out there that do that. And don't try to make money off of it. Don't mark it up so much that somebody's going to buy a $24 T-shirt that doesn't know you. Make it affordable. $11.99 was the first I Shoot Raw shirt.
Wow.
I didn't make much money on it, but I wanted to get the brand awareness out there. So that, I hope, answered that question without being
Whack. Quack, quack.
A dick.
Quack.
Dylan Johnson, me as a legally blind photographer, would it be smart to market myself as such, or should I not disclose that fact? That is a tough. Is it raining? It is.
Yes, it is.
I heard it on the drip.
It's a little wet. Wet outside.
So Dylan, this is an interesting one.
Wait, what did he say again?
Where were you?
I was listening to the rain.
You weren't.
he was
I didn't ask that
daydreaming.
until after I read the question.
I
Where
was
were you?
zoning out.
Why? Where were you?
I don't know. I was in a fairy
Where
tale.
were you last night? At the
No, I
time
mean
of,
seriously. Where was your brain? Like,
I
what
don't
were you
know.
thinking
Just
about?
reread the question.
Was this a girl?
No.
Dylan Johnson was it? Me as a legally blind photographer, would it be smart to market myself
Legally
as such?
blind. Okay. That's the part I missed.
Okay, so you're legally blind. I don't promote that fact unless your work is the greatest work I've ever seen. If your work is awesome and worthy, then I don't care if you're legally blind. All I care about is that you capture great images. So you're going to scare people away when you say you're legally blind if your work sucks. Because if it sucks, who's going to hire you? I don't think being legally blind is like a crutch and people are going to be like, well, I'm going to hire this photographer because he's legally blind. And I think that would be cool, you know? I haven't seen your work. So if your work's awesome and it stands out on its own, you will get a hell of a lot of publicity by promoting the fact that you are legally blind, but you get some of the best photos that people have ever seen. Then it doesn't matter what you are. Because who do you think you are? Going around. Okay. Matt Marachi. What's good advice for someone who's been told they can't make it as a photographer? The good advice is tell them to shut the hell up and go do whatever the hell you want. Seriously.
Bam.
No.
Whammy.
But really, my good advice for someone who's been told they can't make it as a photographer is prove them the hell wrong. Prove them wrong. Have somebody tell you that you can't do something. Well, go ahead and do it. And then tell them that you did it and that they were full of shit and that they are just trying to hold down your dreams.
That's what happened to me in high school when last year. Because a couple of my teachers were asking me what I was doing after school. They thought I was going the engineering kind of route or something. I was like, oh, I'm not going to college. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, I want to be a photographer. And that was like the worst thing they ever heard. Like everyone was like, oh, you should go to college. Or you're not going to make it. It's a tough place. And then I'm
See, I
doing
always
fine now.
hear people say like, oh, I got told that I wasn't going to make it or whatever. I would personally never tell anyone you're not going to make it. I mean, I just feel like that's a shitty thing for someone
You
to
can
say.
say it's
Yeah.
very
You're not gonna make it.
difficult. I mean, you hear me say it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't say you're not going to make it.
It's tough.
I say that it's tough out there for a pimp because it is. No, but it is. And as a photographer, it's tough world. And the facts are that there's how many people, when I graduated school, and I will say there were 100 students. The first year, there may have been 120. We come back for the second year to start, we're already down 20 or 30 because they've already dropped out after 1 year. And then you graduate, and within 5 years, there's maybe 10 of us that are making a living, maybe even less than that, as photographers.
Do they teach the business side of it?
They teach business, but it's pussyfooting business.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you going to teach that stuff? It's certain things you can pick up and learn, but again, certain things you just are born with. You have a propensity to be a business person, to have a business-like mind. There's just certain things you can't teach.
Yeah.
So my answer here is screw them. Do what you think you can do. But it is difficult to make it as a photographer. It's difficult to make anything as a profession. I was told that by a Sports
especially
Illustrated,
like a do-it-yourself profession.
I was told by a Sports Illustrated photographer that it's very difficult. I may not make it. And I read it the wrong way when I was 14 or 15 years old. And I thought he was telling me that I'm not going to make it, or I'm not going to make it. He was just making me aware of how the industry works, that it's very difficult. You can make it in any industry.
You just got
to
really
make
try.
it in every industry.
Yeah.
You just got to make it.
Be a pimp.
What?
Be a pimp.
Jay Thomas, how do you know what a fair price is to charge for your work if you are fairly new and haven't done any well-known shoots? So when it comes to pricing your jobs, and I did this since day one, is I did what I felt I deserved to get paid. I did what I felt, what I thought was the right amount that I would pay myself for a certain job that I would be doing. And I've talked about this a lot of times. You feel it out. What are you comfortable selling your work for? And you just have to start doing it. And then you start to feel, well, you know what? I could get more money. If everybody's jumping at it and being like, wow, $100 to do this and this work is fantastic, well, maybe it's time to raise your price. It's a feeling out thing. There are no secret formulas for figuring out what you should be charging. It's what feels like. I just went with gut feelings. And every time I went with a gut feeling and then asked, say, a teacher or a professor or something, they were coming back with the same price. Because they're like, well, you know what? This price seems reasonable to me. In their minds, I'm like, well, that's what I came up with. So my gut feeling was what I went with.
I don't have any more animal noises.
Zachary Kalzar. Around how much needs to be on hand financially before someone makes a switch to full-time? And do you start before you go full-time to get your feet wet? Do you start before you go full-time to get your feet wet? What, are you just going to one day drop your job and then out of nowhere become a photographer and start trying to make it? You are a photographer. If you're working a day job, you're still taking photography jobs. The day that you leave your other job is when you're able to sustain yourself for a long period of time, and you have enough jobs coming in that you know you're going to be able to do it. There's no number. That number is going to be different for everybody. What do you need to make every single month to guarantee that you can have a roof over your head, your gear, your food, and whatever else you need? That's for you to determine whether you can do that. I can't tell you how much you need in the bank to do so. You're not just going to quit your job and become a photographer. It's not going to happen. Did I just go back to that question before and tell somebody they're not going to be successful? No, I don't think you can be successful if you're not starting somewhere, if you're not already shooting and making money.
Yeah, I don't think you can just start like
you can't
that.
Just quit.
It's got to slowly.
Right.
And then when you feel like you've made it to the point where you're getting enough jobs, then you're like,
it.
Okay, full time. Need to focus on
or
this.
start taking the other stuff part time. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah,
but
or flip flop it. Yeah.
I went through this with somebody in a past business where they were doing something that was taking away from the photography because it was a job to make money. They weren't seeing the fact that if they focused 100% on the photography aspect, that they wouldn't need that other job, because they would be taking those 5-6 hours a day, or the 5 hours a day working part-time, and focusing on being successful at the other damn thing. That, yes, it may be a struggle for the first couple months, but then you're going to see that your rewards and the benefits are going to be so far beyond wasting your time at that 5-hour a day job. Mm-hmm. This is hard. These are hard questions to answer and not be a dick. Susan Cowell Transu, that's her name. How much of a non-refundable deposit should you require for weddings and large events? I just got screwed big time. When it comes to an event like this, if it comes to a wedding, you can take half up front, you can take a third up front, but you got to take something up front to guarantee that if they cancel on you, you have that money. Because if another job comes by, you can't be worried that, oh no, well, should I take both? And then you're screwed either way. So now you end up with none. You got to get some money. And if they don't want to do that, then you can't do it. You have to make the decision. If it's a family friend, if it's a business, if it's somebody that you work with and you're close with and you know you're going to get paid, that's one thing. But you know what? Honestly, big companies that I work with, it's like I need X amount up front to guarantee what I'm going to be doing. You know I'm going to deliver, but I want you to give me at least half. Priscilla Vieira Souza. Should I charge differently according to the person's social class? That is a very tough question.
That is kind of a tough question.
Meaning, do you charge more based off of somebody's income? So there's certain times that you have the ability to do this. Sometimes you know that there's weddings that are $100,000 weddings. You may up your price to be their wedding photographer. Where on the other side, your normal, this is why I never, I don't know, I'm not going to say that it's unethical, but if you ask somebody what their budget is and they go, well, I have $8,000 to spend on this wedding, there's a good chance I'm going to meet their budget but be $1,000 less than what they wanted to spend. I'm going to find a way to make it. You know, maybe I would charge a little more. I'm not going to price gouge somebody, but if they go, I have $8,000 to spend, I'd be like, all right, my base price, my base package is around $5,000, which maybe it was $4,000 and I just built in a little extra, but then I'm going to add this and this to it. And hopefully that goes well. Now, you play an interesting game there that if they contact you separately through email and you start throwing prices and you don't realize that you're talking to the same person, then you're going to be screwed.
Yeah.
So that's why being kind of consistent or being in the same ballpark is definitely important, and not trying to price gouge somebody because of their social economic standing. That is where it gets a little hairy, because you run into a problem if you're going to be like, well, I normally charge $3,000, but now I'm going to make it $4,000. Or that's not even, see, I don't even think that's bad. I think that's getting what you can get, but still delivering a solid product.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Sutter?
I've done it the other way around, where I've never like raised my prices because I have my price set. But if like a friend that I go to high school with is working a really low job and he needs like headshots done or something, I'll bring the price down to help someone out. But I've never been in a position to bring it up.
Yeah, I've done that too.
There's absolutely no. I think that the best thing you can do is meet people on what they need. If somebody's budget is $3,000 and my wedding package was $3,500, do you think I'm going to turn down the job over $500? Yes, $500 is a lot, but do you need to put up your last stand to be like, oh no, I can't go below $3,500? That's going to look terrible. You'd be like, you know what? I'm going to do this for you because I like you, or I'm going to do this because it's still $3,000 that you wouldn't have had that weekend. Don't play the what if somebody else comes along later game, because take the job when it comes to you. Adam Peel, hey Fro, how far in are we? Just so I know.
We are at 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Oh,
We have time.
okay. Well, I'm going to try to finish this in the next. I'm not going to give you a time. Adam Peel, hey, Fro, how do you know when it's time to raise your prices? Also, how to deal with customers that have worked with you at a previous price point before after you have raised it? So this is a good question. How do you know when it's time to raise? The time to raise your price is when nobody's balking at it. When nobody's balking at your price, or they tell you that it sounds too cheap, or you are booked so heavily that everybody wants you for the quality work that you do, it's time to raise your prices. Also, when you feel like you're working terribly too hard because you have too many jobs. I knew a girl that was doing weddings. She chewed my brain for a while. I went to high school with her, and she became a wedding photographer. She did 57 weddings in a year.
Wow.
But she was doing $800 weddings, $1,200 weddings. Her highest wedding was like $1,800 and included prints and books and this. And she was maybe making $400 or $500 on a wedding. So you could either go for those cheap-ass weddings and tire yourself out doing 57, or you could do 20 of them where you profit $3,000 to $4,000 a wedding, and you're going to be a hell of a lot better off, you know? The time to raise your price is when people aren't balking, and when you're way too busy, then you don't have the time.
I guess.
What?
Kind of thins the herd a little bit.
Well, you're better off doing 5 high-paying jobs that equal the same payment as 20 low-paying jobs, if you can get it. But just know that when you do a job that pays more, that sustains you longer, you're also going for a different clientele there. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Phil Schreier, I shoot mainly sports. How do I get to work for magazines? My images are frequently being published, but I would like to do work with magazines. Well, one, magazines are dead. They're not really paying anything.
Yeah.
Yes, you got your Sports Illustrated. You have your Sports Illustrated. You have your big magazines. Well, how do you get a job shooting for a sports magazine? You call the sports magazine and you beat down their door and you find out how you become a sports photographer for them. You just get on the phone and you call them. You have quality work, you show it to them. They call you to go out on a job, they do it. But know that most of these people, Sports Illustrated and all, are taking away the full-time jobs away from the photographers that have been full-timers to go with all freelancers. Mm-hmm. It costs them less money, so I'm not sure how you make it, honestly, in the sports world anymore. That was one of the reasons I started to get out of it when I got out of it, is because I saw the writing on the wall. What? You're quiet.
I have nothing to add.
Lindsay Guy Adar, is a blog necessary to help your SEO? Should you blog for photographers or for clients? So it's a good question that gets asked a lot. If you want to be seen, if you want people to find you, you tell stories. This is my opinion on how I think you make it. SEO purposes, what that means is search engine optimization. That means people find you online when they may search for you. If you're a local Philadelphia photographer and you SEO'd your site out the wazoo, talking about Philadelphia, talking about different parts of Philadelphia and doing photo shoots there, then your SEO for Philadelphia is going to be pretty high. So Who should you be blogging for? You blog for the clientele that you want. If you want to blog for other photographers, then that's what you do. That's what I ended up doing. But if you are running a site where your job is you want to be a wedding photographer, you blog about the stories about your clients. I think we talked about this marketing-wise before.
Yeah.
You blog about the clients. You want them to come back to your site to feel like they could be that person you're talking about. Talk about your shoots. Talk about the amazing people, the stories. Talk about the emails you got from them saying how amazing your photos were and how great it was to work with you and how they worked with you when they got married the first time. How they got
Their follow-up divorce.
and how they follow up and say, well, I'm pregnant. Can you do a maternity shoot? To then they had their baby. Can I go then ahead and do their baby shoot? To go ahead and do their not their wedding. To go ahead and do their holiday shoots. I mean, it just rubs off on you over and over again the more that you do. So you blog for the people that you want to be clients. Brian Siebick, when is it best to start branding yourself and your work? I'm a beginning to intermediate photographer, and I often shoot live for my wife's dance group and friends who do various circus acts. I get good results a vast majority of the time, but I'm not confident that I can get the job done every single time, and I'm worried that branding myself too early can lead to a false impression of performance. You're just afraid. You're either going to do it or you're not. You can't be afraid. It's like driving in a car. If you're afraid to drive, you should not have your license. You should not be in the car. It's okay to be scared about being successful. It's okay to have that type of stuff. But if you're not confident in your work, there's a problem.
We'll just keep practicing. That's what I would do.
Keep practicing. But there's nothing wrong. Brand yourself from day one. If you like doing circus acts and you like doing performance acts and that's what you like shooting, go out and shoot it. You're going to get better and better. And people are going to know you as the guy who shoots photos while on a trapeze. Something.
You'll be the infamous trapeze photographer.
How many more of these do I have?
We're almost done. A lot.
We're almost done.
About tree fitty.
No, we're almost
about
done.
tree fitty.
Daniel Cook, what should the markup percentage be on ordered prints? It's a good question. Nobody's buying prints anymore.
That is a good question.
This is, again, something that you have to feel out. You have to understand that the majority of the public realize that they can order really inexpensive prints off of Snapfish, even if they're still in business. Costco, Target. The prints are so inexpensive that you cannot mark them up 5,000% like wedding photographers that would get a 4x6 and sell it for $25 or $30. It just doesn't happen anymore. So I don't have a percentage markup that you should do. Now, when it comes to fine art, there's a different story there. If it's a fine art type print, you can sell it for whatever the hell you think you can make on it and what people are willing to pay for it. I wouldn't sell it. Like, if it costs you $500 to put it together or $300, I wouldn't be selling it for $300. You got to at least double it and you got to take things into consideration. That's my answer.
Boom.
Brian Michael Photography. When you are starting to get paid gigs and realize you need serious upgrades to your quality of gear, though your budget currently is leaving you stuck, how do you get the funding for the gear you need? The only solution I have is getting a crappy job until I can afford to quit. Well, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You have to do. Nobody's going to hand you money. We live in a day where everybody thinks if they start a Kickstarter, they're going to get people to pay them to travel around the country. I'm sorry, Sutter.
Believe me, it's been shot down numerous times. I'm used to it.
But we live in a world where people think that they are going to get handed something just because they ask for it. I'm trying not to be a dick. I wasn't being a dick to you.
I know.
I told you that from day one.
It's a fine line because either people will get that I'm actually working, or there's going to be people that are getting, like, thinking it's just this huge once-of-a-lifetime adventure, and you have to pitch it the right way to get the things you need.
Right. I just think that people, that a lot of people today set out and that, you know, I get these funding requests all the time. Hey, I want to do this and I need to buy my gear. I want to do this and I want to go here. Oh, that rhymed.
I did rhyme.
Damn.
You're like a poet and you didn't even know
Photos in a bottle. I want to go. Anyway, I need to keep going. You have to find a way to afford your gear. If that means shooting with what you have or renting gear, I would shoot with what I've got until I can afford to get something else. And if that means having a day job, a side job, or something else to pay for your gear, that's what you have to do. Nobody's going to hand you a loan. You can get personal loans. They're very hard to get right now, and it's also very risky with your credit. But if you think you're going to succeed, then do it. You can use credit cards, but high percentages may not be worth it. You're better off just buying the gear. You're like, for $1,000, you're better off saving the money than spending the $1,000 on a card and carrying a balance that you may not pay. Yes, sir.
Or just if you have the option to, try not to go out every night or go to the bar or whatever you're doing, and just kind of save up in other places to dump.
Yeah, how about this?
Gear.
Try not to get hammered.
If you smoke, don't buy cigarettes.
Yep.
If you go out and drink every night and spend $50, $60 at a bar on maybe once a week, don't do that. If you eat out every night, don't do that. I mean, that's simple. That's simple economics. What's her name on TV? What's her name? She's Susie Ortman. Susie Ortman.
I don't know.
She's a financial woman who built her career on telling people what not to spend money on and whether they can afford it.
Yeah.
Dwayne Ward. Pay to put your images in a gallery or pay for Facebook ads?
Ooh.
Well, if I had the choice to both, it would be Facebook ads. See, look, here's the thing, guys. Facebook is so freaking strong. You, in your area... I guess this is better business discussion here. In your area, on Facebook, you can target specific people. You can target people who are engaged. You can target people who just got engaged. You go down the list. You find them in your radius within however many miles you want to travel, and you target them with ads. You spend the money investing on that because that is a direct target that can get people, that can get you jobs. You're not targeting people who aren't engaged. Sure, some of them may already have a photographer, but you need to keep focusing on these people that are engaged, or couples that you know, or just people in your age in an age demographic. If they're 22 to 35 or 36, I would target them with wedding ads. Look for them. Find out people that say wedding dresses or wedding parties or I'm planning my wedding. You can search so many things on Facebook. That's where you put the money. Spending money. Why would you why would you pay to be put in a gallery? That's going to see so many people, so many fewer people that may not be the direct targeted audience that you're going after.
I agree on that. I mean, with the Facebook ads, you can really, really fine tune it. I mean, I've seen you work on a couple of them, and like you said, you can get everything from the people just getting engaged or whatever to the age demographic and everything. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Sutter?
Oh, nothing.
All right, good. Thank you. Paul Clarkson.
Thanks.
How do you go from asking permission to shoot sports games for yourself and portfolio to getting them to pay you? Do I keep answering this? Is this the same question?
Pretty much.
Sort of. I know. You get pissed off at that.
Because, it's just some of the same questions
Again,
over and over.
I can't tell you how to get somebody to give you the paying job. I guess that's why I probably picked it. You just have to go to them and ask for the job. And if they say no, then you got to go find something that's going to pay, and you do this thing for fun. That is what I learned about sports. That's what I learned about concerts. You may not make a living shooting concerts. There's a good percentage of you, 99.9%, including myself, that's not going to make a living shooting shows. I can make money shooting shows. I can make money shooting for bands. You're not going to make a living shooting musicians. Very few people
totally
are.
Agree on that.
Same thing with this music thing.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that you're going to be this next big music photographer.
It doesn't really exist anymore.
It doesn't exist unless I don't even know the big music photographers right now.
These days?
I mean, Danny Clinch became big, but Danny Clinch has already moved on to something else. For anybody who doesn't know Danny Clinch, he was that's the air conditioner. He was an assistant to Annie
Leibovitz?
Witz. It is Witz, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not Leibovitz.
Well, I thought it was Witz the whole time, and you kept telling me it's Witz.
Yeah, but then I listened to a podcast with Alex Trebek.
Did she introduce herself?
No, I was listening to a podcast with Alex Trebek, and he's like, people have gotten this wrong on the show before. They try to say Leibovitz, and I can't give them the points because it's Leibovitz because of how it's spelled, so it's not the same person.
But is that how it's properly pronounced?
Yeah, it's Leibovitz.
Or just because of how it's... Okay.
Well, if Alex Trebek said it...
Jeopardy
said
I want to YouTube an interview and see if she introduces herself.
Sure. Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah.
Danny Clinch, he was an assistant to her. He did well. He gets big advertising gigs. He moves into movies and videos and things like that. But You don't see people making a living at shooting live shows.
Yeah, I mean, if you're behind the scenes doing a lot of, not behind the scenes, but doing a lot of the promo stuff for them, like in with a record label or something.
You're still not making money even with a record label.
But a lot of the record labels tend to go the same person to get the band's promotional shots.
And now the record labels like to just take people's photos just to give them, they'll give them access to the event. They won't have a full-time staffer anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but it depends what label you deal with, but yeah.
Walter Von D. It's like Kat Von D's brother. How did you get your first gallery show? And how would someone right out of art school go about getting themselves known or selling a series they've been working on for years? How do you get an art show? One, why do you want an art show? What do you think why do you want a gallery show? What do you think a gallery show is going to do? If you have a gallery show, but nobody knows who the hell you are, again, who's going to show up? Unless it's the largest gallery and they've got a huge database of people that would be interested in seeing your work. Is that dickish to say?
No.
No, it's
just honest.
Yeah.
How do you, okay. And then how do you get somebody to recognize, so art school, about getting themselves known or selling a series? How do you get somebody to see your series? You get it out there. You promote it. Prime example, you've got Honey. Humans of New York. Mm-hmm. How did he get noticed? He found a way. And that is how his series got out there. Now the gallery shows open up because of it. I once walked into a gallery and said, how do I get hung in here? I ended up getting some work in there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
And never sold.
No?
No.
Well, where is it?
It was in New Hope.
Yeah.
I just walked in. How do I get my work hung in here?
And they were just like...
He's like, what? I'm like, I want to get my work hung in here.
And
I showed him my work.
And he said, okay.
And, no, it didn't say okay right away. It was a couple years later, but I kept at it. He's like, we like that. We'll put it up. Justin Allard, how often do post things ahead of time using a scheduled post versus spontaneous? I think there needs to be a mix of both.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of scheduled posts, but there was a post that went live during RAWtalk. It went up on its own. I've got another one going at 2.
You usually only do it when you have something going on that day when you can't be around.
Right. And if I need to do something spontaneous, if it fits into what my model, then I'm going to talk about it. But there's also some times that I won't post on Facebook. I'll post on Twitter because Twitter is a quicker acting thing.
Yeah.
Like it will go away quicker, and Facebook, it's living on that wall, and it may not be something that I want to talk about there. So it all depends on platform. You talk about certain things on one platform that you won't talk about on another. Like if I post a photo on Instagram that isn't the best photo in the world, then I'm not going to sit there and post it on Facebook for people to just ignore and see that it may not be the right thing. So I think that answered that. Mm-hmm. Matthew Wade, in today's world, most of my clients are only looking to get the digital files. What is the best way of getting clients to also purchase prints?
It's a good question.
It's a good question, but if they already know that they want the digital files, you mark up your price of the digital files. You make your profit on the digital files, not worrying about prints, unless it is fine art. If it's fine art stuff, then you're not selling your digital files, but it doesn't sound like it's the fine art stuff. It sounds like it's more of the wedding thing. Mm-hmm. I love I was very early, one of the early adopters to, like, people always like, can you sell your negatives? And then the person I was a partner with in the business was like, never sell your negatives. That's your money. And I'm like, well, but who cares? How many times are you going to go back anymore and sell the negatives, make an extra $500 off the rip? So I would, when I started to go out on my own doing weddings, I used it as a sales marketing ploy to say, oh, by the way, I include all of the high-res images edited for you to do whatever you want with. I can even point you in the direction of where to get the prints, because prints are very affordable. I can't sell you a print. I can't justify selling you a $40 8x10 when you can order it for $1.99 from Adorama Picks. You know, so I just sold them on the value of the digital file. I knew they wanted them, so I led with that as a marketing thing to get the job.
What my brother's wedding photographer did is, I think they had to buy, he said if they buy a certain amount of prints, then he would give them the copyright to all the images, like full res on a DVD or something along those lines. And he ended up doing that, so he ended up kind of working both ways.
Well, how much did he have to spend?
I think he said like an extra 1,000 or something to get the full res images. So you'd have to buy an extra 1,000 of prints, which they ended up pretty much wanting. They were going to do that anyway, so it worked out in their favor.
I don't think that's horrible.
No, that's a good idea.
It was good, yeah.
It's a good idea. In my own experience with weddings, I rarely had anybody asking me for prints.
Really?
Yeah. Even if they didn't get the negative, the digital files,
Yeah.
rarely did they ever want enlargements, because
Because they're going to print them on their own at freaking
the proofs.
Costco.
They're going to do that stuff. So
Yeah.
I just built it in an extra $1,000. It's built in.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
But
these
it's
days.
cool that he got the prints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some people offer print credit.
Yeah,
like
that's
you book me, I'm going to give you X amount of $500 in prints. Doesn't mean you're spending $500 in prints. It means you're spending maybe $50 in prints and saying it was $500. Sergio Petriconi. When it comes to booking big concerts, what do you say when the manager asks you, who do you shoot for, without lying and sounding like a regular kid with a camera? Well, you need to be shooting for somebody. The simple answer, if you want to shoot a concert or you want to shoot something, and if you say that you're just an amateur or you don't have the work to prove it, or you say that you're working freelance, nobody is giving you they're not going to give you access. You need to have an affiliation. It's a must. If you do not affiliate yourself with somebody, you are not getting into concerts because you are just another person with a camera. It's as simple as that. Start your own freaking music blog. Because most of the people giving out passes, they'll look at your blog, and if it looks professional and has stories and has updates, well, now you officially have an outlet to do something with. Do the work. Laura Regan, best way to find an intern. That is one of the worst questions I've ever heard. Sorry, Laura. There's a million people wanting to be photographers in this world and wanting to work in the photo field. Put out a post on your Facebook page and say, I'm looking for a photo intern. It's not hard to find them today. Yes, Sutter.
My dad gets emails from the Art Institute about going to like portfolio reviews to pick up people as interns.
What does your dad do?
He's a sales rep for he's above the sales rep. He like works in kitchen sales and
Well, what's
home
that have to do
building.
with the Art Institute?
They send him emails to see if he wants to come to the portfolio reviews and pick up a photographer for the business or something.
Well, that's cool.
So
I need to start getting that from Drexel, like a business intern.
My dad does that with his company, and he said they actually hire 90% of them.
I need to reach out to Drexel.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Sutter?
No, that was all. I was just throwing it in.
Thank you. No, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But Laura, I'm not really calling you. I'm not saying that's the worst question ever. I'm just saying that it's really easy to go out there and find interns. Everybody wants to get into something. Why are you laughing at me?
Because you're like, I'm not saying it's the worst question ever, even though I already said that.
Vanessa Studel, best schools for photography and editing. I'm ready to take. I think I picked the questions that I wanted to get pissed off about.
I think you did too.
I think that's what I did. Best schools for photography and editing. I'm ready to take my skills to the next level. There's no school for that. I mean, there are schools for that, but you want to take your skills to the next level, then start taking your skills to the next level. Read some books on how to do this stuff. You want to learn how to edit? Watch videos online. Practice yourself. How did I teach myself Photoshop 2.0 or 3.0? I just started doing it. The more you do it, the better you get. The longer you last, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you didn't get that.
I don't know
With
what else to say to that
Billy
one.
boy.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So Vanessa, really, you go out and you shoot photos, you learn how to edit. These are things that you can do on your own with the influx of information out on the internet. I would not be paying a school to do this stuff.
Practice.
The last question I have, Eric Sorensen, back in the day, how did you attract your very first major client? One of the early clients that I got was this billionaire. It's a billionaire. He owned Advanta, the credit cards. Advanta. They're now out of business because they crashed during the market crash of 2008. So I was sent on assignment because I met somebody who I was going to be shooting a tournament, a tennis tournament. This guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he started Advanta. He was practicing. He had a tennis coach because he had a tennis court at his house. They asked me to go take photos there for publicity purposes. So I went and I took photos there. I came home. I edited the photo. This was film. Yes, it was film. No, it was digital. No, it was film. It was film.
It was film.
It was film. No, I know it was film.
It was film.
Thanks, Sutter. So I went home, and after the stuff was processed and scanned in, I sent him a poster of him playing tennis. I got a call from his assistant. His assistant said, would you like to photograph the Advanta Championships, which was a USTA event with like real women, the professional tennis players. I got a job because that was one of my early big jobs, And then I would get calls from them, not just for that, but for the parties that they threw. So, hey, we're having these celebrities. Can you come out and do this party? Can you shoot these photos? We're doing this party.
See, I wouldn't mind doing that at all.
And they had this money,
that'd be cool.
and I was making good money. And then they had the team tennis, and like, would you like to shoot team tennis at Villanova? And I was charging them,
Well, yes, I would.
like $400 or $500 each time I showed up. And then they wanted behind the scenes photos of like grip and grins with celebrities. That was a big job. The biggest job that I got once was a $10,000 gig to do something in New York.
What was that?
It was called the Manhattan Center. It was photographing the Hammerstein Ballroom. It was doing all this stuff. And how did I get that stuff? Because I networked with the right people. I met people who had influence in certain things, and then the jobs came because they knew the work that I did. So I don't even remember his question. How did you attract your very first major client? It's networking. Networking, networking, networking. Put yourself in situations to be successful, and that's really what you need to do.
Yeah.
What'd you think? Terrible questions on my part?
No, I thought they were good.
This I hope
You had to narrow them down too from like how many did you
I
get?
narrowed them down. There were 160 up
And
there.
then you narrowed them down to like 60, and then you narrowed them down to like 30.
Like 30 some. And the reason there were so many up there, but the ones that I didn't take were the very generic ones that are wide open. Like, how do I be successful? Give me the tips to be successful. Tell me what I need to do this. And it's just like, no, I need pointed questions. And some of the ones I picked, I knew I wasn't going to be happy about, but I picked them because they open up different discussions. The moral of the story throughout this whole thing is you can make it in just about anything in the world. Not everybody's going to make it. You have to bust your ass. You have to take risks. You have to take chances. Not everybody's in the same situation. Not everybody can get rid of the day job to do something like this. So it may just be something that you do on the side and doesn't become a full-time thing. But is there anything wrong with having multiple sources of income coming in? You do some photo gigs a couple times a month or a couple times a week, and you have your job, and your photo becomes the fun thing that you do that you make money at to afford doing more or to pay for the car or pay rent, and then all of a sudden something may happen and you may be able to become a professional full-time photographer. But I think that the romanticism, that whole Gary Vee thing is that the goal is to be a full-time, that the dream is I can be a full-time photographer every day shooting. Maybe the goal today is I've got a job that sustains me and I have the ability to shoot photos on the weekends or at night or take a day off from work and make money as a photographer. That's just where I'm at. Anything else for you to say?
No, not much at all.
Sutter?
No, I think the questions were nice and diverse. They kept things fresh, but yeah.
I hope so. I'm so hard on myself.
Yeah.
Am
No,
I
it
hard?
was nice.
I'm so hard on myself,
They weren't the
man.
same question over and over. They were all business related, which was nice, but they were spread out.
It's just business is not one thing that I enjoy talking about, so I kind of
Well,
step back
you
on
always
that one.
talk to me after you're like, is that the same question that you asked multiple times or have already answered? And sometimes it
Well,
is.
that
but
happens a lot too.
that does. But I try not to. Anyway, I try not to pick the same thing.
No,
So,
they were a lot different than most of them.
So again, Atomos, thank you. Can't wait for that Ninja Star to come out. $299. Rode microphones for the mics that we're using. Sutter, thank you for resetting the cameras and doing the Wheel of Fro.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget about the Adorama Pick sale. It's PXJAFROBK. That's
Boom.
That's 40% off a 10x10 book. That's a great deal.
That is.
I forgot to say I'll be on Creative Live, I think.
Hey, I don't think
I
you
don't think
Creative
you brought
Live,
that up.
July 10th through 12th, out in Seattle, live on Creative Live. I'll be live in
Live.
Seattle, live
from New York.
and coming up soon, maybe out on the website by now, is you can sign up to be in this studio audience, to be one of the students or just photographers there that will help me make the class better.
Cool.
Because I rely on the people that we pick to ask the right questions. And I think if you know my site, you're going to ask the right questions if you're sitting in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And so that's the business of photography. I hope it helped you guys out. I'm just doing the best I can to give you as much information as I can. And a little follow-up from last week. How far in are we?
152.
Ah, shizer. My dad, he keeps asking me about comments. How are they? And the comments have been very, very good.
You
for
mean
the
on his interview?
Yeah.
Oh, I think almost every one was positive that I looked at.
People loved the interview with my dad, and my dad rewatched it except for the ending where everybody cried because he didn't want to watch that part again because he was there. He's like, we gave a lot of useful information.
Yep.
He said that. He's like, we gave some massive business stuff and marketing. And I was like, yeah, that's what we do. Try to do every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just say it like it is and don't hold back. So he was very happy. I sent him some emails that I got from people, then
Cool.
sent him some of the tweets. So he's very happy. He's like, of course, we all second guess ourselves. I guess that's where I get it from. But he's just like, so I guess I came across as not a dick. So
Not to be a dick.
So yeah. Well, and I told him it's about perception. I'm like, remember, they don't know that you're a dick on the outside sometimes. Sometimes. It's perception.
It is.
It's perception. So that is Raw Talk episode number 90, The Business of Photography. Don't forget to check out the website. Go to fronosphoto.com/rawtalk-90 to get all the photo news stories and more, and blah, 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 blah. That's it. Jared Polin, fronosphoto.com. See ya.